So on the mat, if you need your towel, you're going to come to your knees. And then you're going to come down onto your forearms and clasp the hands and place the crown of the head onto the mat. So your head is coming straight down and your hands are just toward the back of your head. So make sure your neck here is coming down straight. So you're directly on the crown of your head that you're putting pressure on. And just stay here for a few breaths. And then bring your hands either side of your head and start to roll your head around on the mat. So you're going to feel all these different trigger points on the scalp. So if you find a spot that's quite sensitive and tender, you just hang out there for a bit and allow that trigger point to ease off. And as you feel it easing, you can carry on moving until you find another spot. So this is very good for insomnia if you do this before going to bed. It gets rid of a lot of tension that you carry in your scalp. And a few people have actually said it helps quite a lot with draining the sinuses as well. So just move around, take your time, and then bring the head back to center, release the hands. Now, the pressure that you have on the crown of the head is actually very much dependent on you. If you press down with the forearms, you decrease the amount of pressure on the crown of the head. And if you release with those arms, you increase the amount of pressure on the crown of the head. So from here, you can sit back into child's pose. You can come straight back or open up the knees slightly. Come back onto the heels. This is as far as you can go. Ground the forehead on the mat and bring the arms to the sides. And take a few breaths here. You've had your head down. We don't want to bring it up too quickly. So just take a few breaths here just to adjust. Reconnect with the breath. And then bring the hands to the mat. Bring the torso back up. So come back up into your tabletop position. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, we're going to bring that left arm through and come to the back of the left shoulder and extend the right arm overhead. So threading the needle and breathe. Feel that stretch across the back of the left shoulder and all the way down the right side of the body. Enjoy the twist. Inhale, bring that right hand back. Support yourself. So come back up to tabletop position. And exhale as you feed that right arm through underneath the left and bring the left arm straight out overhead. Breathing. Again, feeling that lovely stretch across the back of the right shoulder blade and down the left side of the body. Inhale as you bring that left hand back up along the mat, pressing down with the left hand, coming up to tabletop position. Now from here, you can just bring your hand one hand's length ahead of you, engage your toes, and push up and back into downward dog. Slowly straightening out those legs. And let's see if we can get those heels down towards the mat. Breathing. Feel that length along the back of the body. Pushing the mat away from you with the hands. And bringing the gaze up. Walk the feet forward and come to sitting position on the mat. So I'm just going to turn side on now, so it's easier for you to see what I'm doing. So we're going to come into Baddha Konasana, butterfly pose, bow under angle pose. So bring the soles of the feet together and bring them in as close as you can into the groin. Try not to collapse through the lower back. If this is extremely uncomfortable for you or inaccessible, elevate your pelvis by sitting on your towel. So fold it up just to make a decent size. And that just decreases the angle here. Sit up nice and straight, supporting yourself through your core. Drop those shoulders and the shoulder blades flat. And then bring the hands over the toes. Breathe. And start to imagine now releasing from the hips. So what a lot of people do when they sit in this position is push the knees down. And what I find tends to happen when you push the knees down is the hips immediately try to protect themselves. So those muscles just tighten up. So if we can sort of focus on the hips, start picturing how the femur, the thigh bone sits in the pelvis. So you've got that, the pelvis and the top of the femur sits in there. And there's all these ligaments and tendons and muscles around that joint. Imagine all of them relaxing. Imagine as you breathe that your breath is being sent to that area. And as they relax, your knees will just come down automatically towards the mat. Just take a few moments here to breathe. If you like, you can take your feet, take your thumbs to the insides of your feet and open your feet up, almost like you're opening up the pages of a book. So you're looking at the soles of your feet. And you can stay seated here, or if you like and you'd like to increase the stretch, take a nice deep breath. And as you exhale, bring the body forward, keep the shoulders back and the chest open. We're not curling over the feet, we're folding forwards. And the elbows come towards the knees. Breathing, open chest. Inhale and bring the body back up. And then bring your knees up and extend the legs out in front of you. So I'm going to turn side on again so that you can see. So I want you to keep your feet flexed. I want your legs to stay active. So your quads are engaged and your kneecaps are being lifted up. And your hands are placed on the mat either side of your hips. Sitting up nice and tall, shoulders back and down. Core is stabilized. Strong flexion through the feet. Breathing. Inhale, bringing the arms up overhead. Keep those shoulders down. And then as you exhale, folding from the hips, coming forward, just until you feel that slight resistance, wherever that is. and then drop the hands straight down. So whether the hands are now resting on the thighs, on the knees, on the shins, on the ankles, on the feet, it doesn't matter. It's not about how far down we can reach down our legs. It's about this forward fold that we're creating, keeping the shoulders back and the chest open and the belly drawn nice and tight. So all this stretch is coming up through the back of the hamstrings. And we're not rounding. We're keeping that spine safe and supported. Breathe. Be able to spine, supporting your back. Extend your arms overhead. Inhale. Come back up to an upright position. And exhale to bring the arms down to the side. Very nice. We're now going to open the legs to the side. Again, let me just swivel here. So once again, feet are flexed, legs stay active, quadriceps engaged, kneecaps pulled up. This is already a very active pose that you're sitting in. So if this is enough for you, you can place your hands behind you and just stay in this position. Or if you want, you can inhale, and as you exhale, walk the hands forward. Don't let those feet fall in. Keep them pointing straight up towards the ceiling. Strong, strong flexion through the feet. Breathe, relax the shoulders, chest is nice and wide. Inhale, walking those hands back towards the body, keeping those legs active. And then we're going to move to the side. So breathing in, as you exhale, take the back of that hand and slide it down the leg just as far as you can. So your entire body is now opening. Your torso is shifting. You're pressing against that leg with the back of your hand, causing this opening through the chest. So bringing that down just as far as you can, rotating the head slightly. Don't jut that chin out, tuck it in slightly, and bring the left arm overhead. Breathe. So all the time, pressing against the inside of that left leg with that back of the right hand. So you've got this real rotation through the torso, holding your core nice and tight, feet are flexed. Inhale, bring that left arm back and come back to center, and now coming down the other side. So inhale, and as you exhale, we slide the back of that left hand down that left leg, pressing with that left hand into that left leg, opening up the torso, rotating from the navel all the way through the rib cage, opening up that chest, just as far down as you can, and then bringing that right arm overhead. Feet stay active, legs stay active. Breathe. Inhale, bringing that right arm down, coming back to upright position, centered. Breathe. Very nice. Take your hands underneath your knees, bend your legs, bring your feet together, and with your hands behind you, just let your knees fall right and left just a few times. Okay, and now we're going to come onto our back on the mat, and we come into a supine pigeon. So this is a really great stretch to get that glute med So cross the right foot over the left knee and bring that left foot up off the ground, and then take your hands behind that left thigh, clasp with fingers, and draw that thigh in towards the chest. So you're getting a stretch here on the outside of the right leg. So this is a really, really good stretch, and there's a lot of variations of this stretch, this pigeon pose. It can be done standing, where standing against a kitchen counter or any counter that sort of comes up to your hip height, and taking your leg and placing that onto the counter in this 90-degree bend. It can be done supine, such as we're doing now, or it can be done prone, where you're turned over onto your belly and your leg is bent underneath you. This is possibly one of the more gentle ways of performing a pigeon pose. And if you're a runner and you have any issues with ITB, the iliotibial band is a really tough band of connective tissue that runs from the outside of your glute all the way down the outside of your leg and connects in the knee. And when it's inflamed or irritated, it pulls on the knee, and it causes a lot of pain on the outside of the knee. So a lot of people like to roll the ITB. I don't believe you should roll or put pressure onto a tissue that is inflamed. The ITB, the very nature of it, it's not a stretchy tissue. It's not like muscle. You cannot actually stretch the ITB. What we can do is stretch where it inserts. So that's what we achieve here. So now release the fingers and drop that left foot to the ground. And now, keeping your legs crossed like this, or your foot crossed, you're going to drop that left knee to the ground. I just have to move out a little bit. I don't have enough room here. So drop that left knee to the ground with the foot still crossed. And then grab that right ankle with the left hand and work this right shoulder back into the mat. So here we are basically extending the stretch or hitting it from a slightly different angle. So instead of that stretch being lower down here, you're going to feel it more over here. So a lot of ITB problems come from a weakness in this glute med, in this outside muscle. Okay, so release that foot, let that knee come up off the ground, uncross the leg, move back onto my mat slightly, and cross the left foot over the right thigh. Bring that right foot up off the ground, take your hands behind the thighs, clasp those fingers, and draw that thigh in towards the chest. So as you lie here in pigeon pose, if you would like to increase the stretch, if you move this right thigh away from center, so in other words, moving it more towards the outside, bringing it across slightly, you'll feel that stretch really intensify. So what you can do is kind of play around with it for a little bit. What I like to advise when people are stretching is to hold that stretch until you feel it ease, subside, surrender, and then alter the position until you find a bit of resistance, and then stay there. Stay in that resistance. Breathe. You feel that subside too. So as I was saying, so a lot of the ITB problems are caused by this glute med, this outside muscle here being weak. Most of us, our glutes don't fire properly or correctly. Most of us are quad dominant. The quad takes over a lot of the work that the glute should be doing. And when the glute's not working properly, the hamstring also takes over that work. And what happens is we end up with things like painful lower backs, hip problems, lots of related issues that are caused by a lot of other things, but it definitely it plays a role. So your correctly functioning body should have these really strong glutes. Humans are the only animals that have these really developed gluteus muscles. Okay, release those fingers and let that right foot come down towards the mat, and let that right knee open to the side as the left foot comes down towards the ground. So grab onto that left ankle with the right hand and work that left shoulder back into the mat and feel that nice stretch up here. So, and the reason that humans have these well-developed glutes is because we walk upright. So they are responsible for holding the body upright, and it's a glute where our forward movement comes from. As soon as that's not working properly, and let's say you're running, what happens is slowly the knees start to fall in toward each other. The feet start to roll in to the inside, start to pronate. And then you start getting this tension or this pulling through the ITB and this pain on the outside of the knee. We need to build up the glutes. We need to run from the glutes, and we need to build up these stabilizing muscles and build up the glute med so that the legs stay nice and aligned when we're running and things don't start sort of being misaligned. So release that right, or the left ankle rather. Bring that foot back up off the ground and cross the legs. And then you can come into your final sequence of twist and Savasana.